Good evening and welcome to the 2013 ANZ Championship on SBS 1. It's round 2 of the 2013 season and we have plenty in store for you tonight. We'll show you all the best of all the action from today's games as the Adelaide Thunderbirds visit the Melbourne Vixens and the West Coast Fever hosts the Northern Mystics. But first we're going to take a look back at the Southern Steel's record-breaking victory last night, and to help me do that is our resident expert Selina Hornibrook. Selina, the clashes this weekend are really going to start to determine who the powerhouses will be for the rest of the season.
They certainly will. Last week they actually had a reasonably tight match between most teams. It was mainly one quarter that blew out in most of the games that caused the big differences in the games. I think it was just the Magic. They were the strongest that led and maintained their lead all the way through the game.
All right, let's have a look at the lineups for today's game, and the tactics are really going to have to work hard to rein in Janelle Fowler, but let's take a look at the tactics side.
So in goal shooter you've got Joanna Harton. She had a really good game last week. Even though they lost against the Magic, she was quite a strong and confident shooter. And in goal attack you've got Sophia Fenwick. In the centre court here, you've got wing attack Anna Thompson, centre Keisha Grant and wing defence Jade Clark. Jade Clark combined really well with Jo Harton last week, and if they can do the same this week, I think they'll have a really good combination. Moving into your defence end, in goal defence you've got Bessie Manu and in goalkeeper Zoe Walker. They had a pretty tough week last week against Irene Van Dyke, so they've got a lot to do this week.
All right, turning now to the Steel, who they're up against, and this is also an interesting lineup with one of the real sensations in goal shooting for this championship.
Absolutely. In goal shooting you've got Janelle Fowler, and she had a great game last week. She started off a little slow, understandably, her first time in the ANZ Championships, but she's supported well there by Jodie Brown. In the centre court, you've got wing attack Courtney Tairi, centre Philippa Finch and wing defence Wendy Frew. Philippa Finch had a great game last week feeding into the shooters, so hopefully she'll keep that up. And in the defence then, you've got Storm Purvis and goal shooter Rachel Rasmussen.
OK, let's take you straight to our commentary team, Leslie Murdoch and Belinda Colling, with the best of all the action.
Originally from the deep south and playing for the Tactics up until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, great to see Finch in the centre this week. I think they need her in there. She's so strong right through the court, so really great to see her in that centre bib.
So the first blood drawn by the Jamaican shooter, Janelle Fowler, as we mentioned, 1.98 centimetres. So the centre pass off of the Tactics.
Yeah, interesting this week that they've gone for that attacking line that they finished with last week. I think both goal attacks last week, Fenwick and Thompson shot under 50%. So they're really going to need to improve that to ensure that their team are, in this match.
A little rueful smile there from Rachel Rasmussen. Incurred 25 penalties all up last week against the Firebirds, standing beside Fenwick now. I thought Fenwick was involved in some outstanding passing movements last week, but gave the ball away a little too easily. And it's just been a couple of turnovers. Fast ball, looking to get that ball into Houghton, who was well sewn up by Rachel Rasmussen. And they know they need to get that ball in because the whistle's going to go any moment. They do. The crowd appreciate it.
More intercepts, setting up for intercepts tips. There's just not enough from either side.
And there's another one. So 31-26, the Tactics ahead of the Steel.
What did you just see on that? It's a great shot there of the centre pass, Leslie. And what you saw, which I want to see more of, is Tairi attacking the centre, the goal circle. She went back up court rather than what you want off the centre pass. It's that second phase, attacking the centre, attacking the goal circle. And I think Tairi perhaps a little bit building in confidence, coming off a knee injury, but really want to see her develop.
Thompson has it, the skipper for the Tactics. She'll be a happier person too.
Oh, beautiful from Fenwick. Shooting 15 from 18.
So 20 seconds for the Steel to get one in, or for the Tactics to defend.
Yeah, that's going to be called deliberate. And Steel will take the ball inside the circle, and Jodie Brown finishes it off.
So the dying seconds of the second quarter. There is half-time whistle here in Christchurch. Wow, what an interesting second quarter after leading 20-18 at the first break. It is all tied up here.
Oh, look, there's another beautiful ball into Fowler.
Oh, Finch again. We've just finished talking about her. So the Steel, the last 6.
Yeah, but that was a beautiful intercept. It's only the 4th one of this match. So hopefully it's taken this long that we start to see some of the defence get their eye in and start taking some more ball for their team.
They've stepped up a gear the Steel, though, haven't they? Get that impression in the opening stages of this third quarter. They have ramped it up.
Yeah, well, you know, they would be expected to win this match.
Oops, and Philippa Finch has got one in the left eye. She carries on. She's so tough.
Oh, needed to be more into the space from Finch. So composed, Fowler, isn't she? So we're used in some ways, if you were going to pick positives for each of these sides, it would be that they've been able to develop their attacking ends in this game, get the flow, get the confidence. But of course, they're going to have to try and really pick up the defensive effort.
Ooh. She still gets her own miss, which is just such a powerhouse. Janelle Fowler, 40. Here's, look at that very sure ball coming in from Tyree, finding the expert hands of Janelle Fowler, who is treating not only the viewers but to the spectators here at CBS Arena to a wonderful display of goal shooting. So coming into the last 30 seconds, and she tips it, but only into Karaka, who stood in exactly the right place. And the good thing for the Tactics too, defensively, they've been able to get their defensive players on, give them all a good run. Tripp, Watson.
Well, they've kind of had to, haven't they, Leslie?
Well, the others have given their everything.
They've had to have given everything a crack to try and combat that woman.
Oh, a smile. She's done so well, Janelle Fowler. Records smashed all over the place in this match. And look at that there, it's what you talked about.
Yeah, Karaka took that. And Tone Fitzpatrick and Karaka together could form a wonderful combination for the Steel side.
So that is the full-time whistle. It was helter-skelter in that last 15, and the Steel have won thanks to that third quarter. They have taken this match 75 to 56.
Back. So it was a good win for the Steel and an incredible performance by Janelle Fowler. Next up, we turn our attention to the Melbourne Vixens as they went up against the Adelaide Thunderbirds at Hisense Arena. And Selena, tell us how they lined up.
So in the shooting end, you've got Karen Howarth. She's been playing really good, consistent netball. She's teamed up there with goal attack Tegan Caldwell. Although they're missing Cheryl McMahon in that back lineup, I think Tegan has really filled the role well and will actually make it quite difficult for Cheryl to come back into the team. Moving into the centre court here, you've got wing attack as Madison Brown, centre Eliza McLeod and wing defence Joanna Curran. Madison Brown has just been outstanding in the last year leading up to this. She's won most of the awards last year at the Netball Australia Awards. And into the defence end, you've got goal defence Bianca Chatfield and goalkeeper Jiva Mentor. These two are forming a great combination and are going to be tough for any goal shooting team to get through.
All right, let's head straight into the Thunderbirds. They've also got a strong lineup. They're former champions. Where do you see their strengths this week?
Okay, so in the goal shooting end, you've got Carla Borrego and Erin Bell. Last week, Carla had a great game, and with Erin Bell, she not only assisted Carla really well, she also shot a phenomenal amount of goals for a goal attack. Leading into the centre court, you've got wing attack Lee Waddington, centre Natalie Von Berto and wing defence Renee Hallinan. This is a really strong centre court. Lee Waddington, although not having a lot of experience, she combined really well with Natalie Von Berto last week, and I think if they build on that, they're going to be a pretty hard team to both get through and also to stop. Down in the goal defence end, you've got goal defence is Shani Layton and goalkeeper is Rebecca Bully. They're working on their combinations, I think. Being together for a little while now, they're still working things out.
All right, let's go straight to our commentators, Liz Ellis and Kelly Underwood, with all the highlights.
Oh, what vision, Maddie Brown. She saw Tegan Caldwell out of the corner of her eye, knew she was heading to the post. That is faith and that is knowing your teammate.
Fumble from Borrego. Moving it around the circle's edge. Could have gone to the post, instead Borrego in the hot pink shoes to match the dress. Curran's just throwing herself around out there, relishing being back in the big time. That height off Borrego means she can use the splits and then steps in. It's an almost 2-metre step in. Let's have a look.
And when you do something like throw a different style of defence, oh, beautiful cross-court ball there from Maddie Brown.
Sneaking in under the vacant space behind that defensive zone.
I think Nat Bomberto's timeout was really beneficial for the Adelaide side. It feels like they've really settled into the game. The tempo's slowed a little bit. As I say, they've settled. Borrego's still missing a couple of goals, so maybe she'll take a little more time. But I think the timeout was good for them. Even their bench is a bit more involved in the game now.
Well, Erin Bell is certainly carrying the responsibility in that front line for the visitors as Howarth delivers another. 9 from 9, Liz. Borrego just 3 goals from 5 attempts, so they've got some improvement and work to do there.
They do, but the good news is for the Thunderbirds is that they've got a goal attack in Erin Bell who's capable of stepping up. Now, a few years ago, I think that might have been an issue for her, but I would back her now to shoot the game out. But you do want Borrego firing.
Well, the upside is if she does flick the switch, look out. Came from 5 goals down last week against the Pulse.
Oh, Mentor again, out all over Nat Bomberto. Oh. I think for the Thunderbirds, they're doing well to be so close within 5 goals as the second quarter gets underway. Yet they don't have each end firing yet. Carla Borrego, just 3 goals. She will come into the game. And I think that rocket that's just gone into that defensive line from the Thunderbirds coach will spur them into action. They know that they were half a step off. They were really set behind in that first quarter. They will step it up and they will win ball back.
And Leighton with that rocket has produced. Turnover City, they've coughed it straight back though. Thunderbirds down by 2 at quarter time last week, trailed by 5 in the second. Oh, again, that defensive pressure really has stepped up.
Have a look to see who's spilling some claret.
It might have been Erin Bell. Brown, look at that. And she just hung in the air, Howarth, as if she had an eternity. Beautiful netball. Still 9 goals. Oh, Brown's gone over on the ankle.
Oh, and that insult to injury. It's a footwork call, so she's been called for stepping. She doesn't look happy.
Just a little quick jerking motion there from Maddie Brown as she tried to land. I think she might have caught an opponent's foot on the way down.
Carla Borrego really should have taken the earlier shot. She just doesn't look like she wants to go the post.
No.
And she's got to.
She wants it over the top here. Great ankle, Mentor. Keeps it in play. It's a loose ball. Bomberto swoops.
Oh, and the replay again. Nat Bomberto chased it beautifully but couldn't maintain possession. Big play then for the Vixens. They had to fight hard for that.
Interesting to note that the Adelaide Thunderbirds trailed at halftime against the Pulse last week, Liz, and they won the third quarter 13-5. Well known in sporting circles.
Oh, the lift!
The lift! We've seen the chair lift. Bully on Shimon.
Well, Kate Shimmon's built for it. She's got a great explosive vertical jump.
Sheffield just a little bit late. Just talk me through how difficult it is, that chairlift, because they did look to do it then, but obviously the timing wasn't right.
You've got to be able to time it because it takes both defenders out of play. So you've got to wait until the ball's in the air, which is a difficult thing to do, and then you can be too late. And you've got to have the personnel to be able to do it. As I said, Kate Shimon has the perfect build for it.
Vixens are away again. Caldwell just a lovely slice towards the post and finishes it off. Margin is 7. Oh, split the defenders and just cop one for her trouble, Carla Borrego. Off balance, scores. Down, final seconds. Oh, well, that's where they needed that. They've needed that all day. A few errors to be made by the Vixens. Is there time to score? Their first win at home, and they are proving they're going to be a real contender again this year. They've downed the arch rival. The final score, 58-44.
Welcome back. So it was the Vixens who make it 2 from 2 so far this season. Our last match this evening is between the West Coast Fever and the Northern Mystics. And Selena, the Fever are really going to hope to be able to bounce back from a poor first round.
Yeah, they struggled last week in the game against the Swifts. I think basically what they were missing was some combinations in the circle. They just really weren't pulling it together, and Catherine Cox had to pretty much handle the shooting end by herself.
So if we look at the lineup now, take us through this to point out where their strength is.
Okay, as I said, Catherine Cox is in goal attack, Caitlin Bassett goal shooter. I'm hoping that they can combine a lot better this week, especially Caitlin Bassett. They've got a pretty tough centre court there with Shea Bolton and Ashley Brazel. Between the two of them, they should really clog up the centre court for the other team to try and get through. All
right, let's take a quick look at the Northern Mystics, because they've been a team that's been thereabouts, really challenging for the premiership in some stages.
Yeah, they've got a really strong team, especially in their shooting end. You've got Catherine Latu as goal shooter, Maria Tutara as goal attack. Maria was pretty quiet last week, whereas Catherine had a brilliant game. If their feeders with Grace Rasmussen in wing attack and Caitlin Cullen in centre, if their feeders can really get their act together, that should be a pretty tough combination to cut through.
OK, let's take you straight to the commentary team. Catherine Harvey-Williams and Tiffany Cherry with the pick of the action.
This is more like her usual performances. She finished third on the shooting table last year. She had 434 goals at 87%, so certainly one of the absolute best shooters in the world.
Wing attack.
Pushing back into Brazel. So you can see something courtside.
Certainly can, Tiff. Just thrilled in watching Ashley Brazel bring this ball down the court. There's been so much talk about the Fever that Catherine Cox tends to sort of plug up that middle area and not allow our centre court to move to the top of the circle. With Brazel bringing this ball down the court at wing defence, there is no time for Catherine Cox to worry about the middle. So there's a real opening now for the Fever. You can see there Cox in the circle, the place where she needs to be, hovering around the top, and then using that ball to feed Bassett. Certainly working a lot better for the Fever today.
Vantage obstruction wing. Vantage contact.
Skill from Latu. Very balanced player. Rosie Jones not happy. To a few boos from the crowd.
Oh, interesting. Another offensive foul against Latu. You don't see that much in this game.
We spoke about Beckford Chambers needing to improve after her opening performance. How do you rate her so far?
Yeah, she's doing a good job. She's not letting Latu influence the game as much as she used to. She's working well in combination with Jance.
Vantage obstruction. Intimidation centre.
Look at this, how easy it is there. Now Cullen's come onto her, but she was setting up, had all the time in the world.
Jess Moles is just having a really tough time on Bassett. He just got pushed off the ball.
It's a lesson for her. She's learning her trade. It's not the way you want to learn it, but it's how you get better.
And she just looked over at the bench, looking at her coach, and she got nothing. They seem to move in quite fast through the centre, but why do you think the turnovers? Just a little bit more confidence in their passes and their skills?
Yeah, and their holds are better. Sometimes last week, they were releasing the ball and the hold went missing at the last second. But it's just a confidence thing. You start off well and things just go from there. It's just so easy. And they're happy to work the ball across court at times and wait for some movement in this circle. And Cox to Bassett, I'd like to see how many times that's occurred. There it is again. Tutaya delivering again, 21 from 25. Latu sitting on just 11.
Dynamite pass down the wing.
Smolds had a go. 4.
Latu with 14 goals for the game.
Yeah, she's happy, Latu. She didn't get picked up on that occasion. It's quite a character, Catherine Latu. And for the Fever, it's all about finishing off what they have started. The most pleasing thing, I think, for Norma Plummer is the consistency they've shown over 3 quarters. They won't want to let themselves down now in this last quarter. I think that's obvious by the fact Plummer hasn't made any changes. And there's an example that they keep on keeping on. Lazy 57 goals to Caitlin Bassett. Excellent performance. Tutai on the charge there. They need to give the ball to her when she calls for it. As I said, playing a great captain's role today. Lands another one. You can't get a lot better than 75 goals with 5 minutes to go. But look, it's a tough competition. They struggle more against Australian sides. So they've still got that to come back with. And they are having
Listen to the
great
crowd.
Easter Sunday.
Loving that. 60 goals for Caitlin Bassett.
Advantage wing contact.
Oh, everything's working for the Fever now.
Tunnel ball, and they still get it.
They will be enjoying every moment of this as much as the Mystics would be hating it. It's a frustrating game sometimes.
Certainly good for the crowd. Good for netball in the state. Netball a big sport for the females in WA.
Yeah. You find most little girls play this sport. And they get very good crowds here. And as Sue was talking, the membership is up, and this win will see that increase. They just haven't been able to deliver the goods in recent times in terms of playing finals netball manager championships. So I'll be hoping that maybe this is the year. There's the 80th goal. Maybe one more. Oh, too much pressure.
There you have it. All the Fevers away. A 27-goal win for them. That's fantastic effort.
So what a huge win for the Fever. And next week they take on the defending champions, the Magic. That's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, the Fever, they were a different team in that game from what they were in the first round, and I think if they can keep that type of consistency and also the combination in their shooting end up like that, they'll give Magic a really hard game.
All right, Selena, thanks for your company today. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Tracy.
A reminder before we go to make sure you're watching a little later as we bring you live cycling with coverage from the Tour of Flanders. That starts at 10:30 p.m. on SBS 1. It's also a massive week for the World Game as the Champions League returns with